Hi, everybody. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and Geo Collaborate. It's Sunday, September 28th, 2025. This is an update for the All Hazards Consortium. We have a tale of two tropical cyclones today, and how they will influence each other is quite remarkable. It's not totally unprecedented, but boy, do we have a major hurricane to thank. Hurricane Humberto is now a strong Category 4 hurricane. That's the satellite picture that you see here, this loop from the high-resolution GOES satellite. 22,300 miles up, this satellite is orbiting in geostationary orbit, and it's keeping its eyes on Humberto in one of these high-resolution mesoscale sectors. It is just incredible, the amount of energy in this storm right now. And as a matter of fact, waves, long waves are being felt in Puerto Rico and in the southern part of the United States already. It's going to plague the East Coast for most of the week as well. Let's take a look at the statistics for Humberto. This update's from the National Hurricane Center as of 11 o'clock this morning. Major hurricane indeed. Category 4, expected to produce dangerous surf across the western Atlantic. At 11 o'clock, Humberto was located at 24.6 north, 64.3 west, about 450 miles north of the northern Leeward Islands, and maximum sustained winds 150 miles per hour. Category 5 is 156 miles per hour, so it's not far off from that. Humberto is also 535 miles south of Bermuda. Minimum central pressure, 934 millibars, and the movement to the west-northwest at 13 miles per hour. Next full advisory from the National Hurricane Center will be at 5 o'clock this afternoon. The forecast for Humberto keeps it a Category 4 hurricane all the way until after 11 o'clock Monday, so maybe 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock, it'll dip down to a still major Category 3 hurricane, but it maintains its major category strength in this forecast through 11 o'clock Tuesday. Sea surface temperatures are really able to fuel Humberto, and it's in a very favorable environment to keep its strength. No real wind shear is headed for this hurricane anytime soon. And you can see as it gets down, forecast to be a Category 1 by 11 o'clock Thursday after it recurves and heads well to the northeast out over the northern Atlantic Ocean. I'll show you that on Geo Collaborate when we talk about the path, the forecast path, and where it's headed. Tropical Storm Imelda was declared as of 2 o'clock Eastern Time from the National Hurricane Center. Depression, you heard us talking about it this whole time. Potential tropical cyclone, and then tropical depression, number 9, is now Tropical Storm Imelda. It is located to 23.9 north, 77.3 west, about 95 miles west-northwest of the central Bahamas, and 370 miles southeast of Cape Canaveral, Florida. That's the Space Coast on the east coast of Florida. That little area that you see sticking out right in here, that's where they launch all the rockets from at NASA and the U.S. Space Force Station right here. So it's 370 miles southeast of Cape Canaveral. Maximum sustained winds right now, 40 miles per hour. Minimum central pressure, 998 millibars. And the movement is to the north at 7 miles per hour. Next advisory will be at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Let's take a look at the forecast. The latest forecast was actually issued by the Hurricane Center this morning at 11 a.m., so they still had it at 2 p.m. as a depression. That's what that D is. But now it is a tropical storm, so just bump that D up to the 40 mile per hour line, and then it'll turn into a tropical storm. And then it's forecast to remain a tropical storm, but gradually gain intensity at a pretty steady state until early in the morning on Tuesday, and then become a hurricane. And it seems like it's going to remain a Category 1 hurricane throughout its life cycle here, but reaching 75 miles per hour forecast right now at 2 p.m. Tuesday afternoon. And then we're going to have the help of some divergent wind flow and perhaps a jet streak to get this hurricane up even to 85 or 90 miles per hour, on the verge of a Category 2 hurricane. But here's the great news. By that time, Tropical Storm Imelda will be well off the East Coast. It's really amazing what's happened over the last couple of days and how these numerical prediction models are working with major Hurricane Humberto and its interaction with Imelda. We're even looking at AI models. Some of the AI models from NOAA and the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasts and Google DeepMind all have been indicating that Imelda would be dragged eastward and not really have an impact on the shore. So we're hoping that that happens. We're still encouraging everyone from Florida to North Carolina to keep your guard up, pay attention to the weather updates, because we want to see that easterly turn over the next couple of days with Imelda before we call coast is clear. And even then, the coast isn't going to be totally clear from rip currents, dangerous battering waves, and really dangerous boating conditions. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look full screen at what's going on. We have both of them in the same view, and look at this. It's not something that we see every day. It's certainly something that we have dealt with in the past and we have seen around the globe as two tropical cyclones interact with each other down the road here. So Tropical Storm Imelda, which is right in here, you can see the strong thunderstorm activity that's really blowing up right in here. That's around the center of the storm. So I think we'll see more convection developing around this area as Imelda slowly moves towards the north. And then at some point up here, it will take a turn to the east. That's what the official forecast says from the National Hurricane Center. We're all making sure that this happens. The planes are still flying into Imelda and around Humberto. Here is GeoCollaborate with the latest forecast from the National Hurricane Center. And I'll highlight a couple of things here because I do have some lines on here. This yellow line, just to let you know, this was N49RF. That is the high altitude Gulfstream 4 aircraft that flew out last night and ended early this morning. They were measuring winds in the hurricane, around the hurricane, and also around the tropical storm now. It was a tropical depression at that time, but that's the path that N49 took. We also have the Hurricane Hunter aircraft that flew down and investigated. This is the P3 aircraft, investigated this area right down here. And now it was a tropical depression earlier this morning, but at 2 o'clock this afternoon, now made a tropical storm. And you can see right here in GeoCollaborate, this is the radius of maximum winds for Tropical Storm Imelda. And here is the forecast track. Look at this. Just gets to about the Space Coast latitude and then takes a sharp right as a hurricane and heads out to sea. Now, don't get confused here as these two tracks cross themselves. This is not going to happen. The storms are not going to intersect with each other, so you can see what happens. And I just want to explain something really quickly. The Hurricane Imelda is expected to be here, and that is on October 1st. But look where Humberto is supposed to be on October 1st. So this is way out here. So Humberto is going to be well north of Bermuda, while we have Imelda heading straight for Bermuda. So Bermuda, if you live there, keep your eyes open. It looks like Humberto will miss you, but Imelda may not. So here is Imelda with its radius of maximum winds. Notice we have a lot of rain that is coming into South Florida in waves. It's outer bands of this system. They're not really organized bands, but it's also combined with a trough of low pressure off the East Coast. But this moisture is being pumped up here by Tropical Storm Imelda, and some of these storms will be very squally coming into the Space Coast here. This area in red is a tropical storm warning. That is in effect offshore, not in the land areas. I'll get down and show you details. We're going to dive into the Space Coast here towards the end and show you where these warnings and watches are in effect and what you can expect if you live on the east coast of Florida. If we go up to the north here, you can see that rain continues all the way up in the ocean, but it's also coming ashore in some areas in squalls. And this could be very heavy at times, and winds would be gusty under these squalls as well. Even up into Jacksonville, you'll see some of these squalls coming through. As Imelda moves to the north, we're going to see all this precipitation on the western side impact the east coast of Florida. So we could still see some localized flooding. We're going to see very large waves, lots of beach erosion, and certainly rip currents. Do not swim on the east coast, particularly from Miami northward all the way to the Outer Banks. Just stay out of the water. It is not a smart place to be. Just sit back and be amazed at the power of the ocean. Okay, now I want to just show you where Hurricane Humberto is. And this is the radius of maximum winds for Humberto. These are hurricane force winds, storm force winds above 50 knots. And this is tropical storm force winds. And what are these things? These little things coming in and out. This is 48 hours worth of data for Seastar Ocean automated robots that NOAA is practicing with. This is the first time they're using them this year. And we can see the real-time observations from these sensors. These are unmanned ocean sensors. They have little sails on them, not as big as the sail drones that NOAA used last year. But these are smaller, and they're sending back lots of data. And so it's really interesting here. We can see that, yes, this is an alert. GeoCollaborate has alerted us that this platform is located in or near an official NHC Outlook area or a tropical cyclone forecast. Well, look at that. It's pretty darn close to it right now. We're seeing winds of, looks like 27 miles per hour. I think they're probably larger than that. These small ocean robots are near the eye wall of Hurricane Humberto, and it's pretty amazing. Let's take a look. Let's dive in here a little bit deeper. I wasn't planning on doing this, but look at this one right here. This is getting very close. Winds of 14 knots. I don't know. We'll have to find out if these things have tipped over or what, but it is not a fun place to be right here with winds of 150 miles per hour around the center, and we're just seeing winds of 16 miles per hour here. We'll have to see what's going on. Maybe there's more detail we can take a look at in the post-storm analysis. But it's pretty amazing that these things can be maneuvered. These unmanned ocean systems here can be maneuvered to be in a position to check out the impacts of the ocean. Okay, now I just wanted to talk about waves for a minute because we have this Category 4 hurricane, Humberto, spinning out here in the ocean. But the waves are already reaching, look at this, Puerto Rico, far to the south, and the northern Lesser Antilles, Leeward Islands here. And these waves are also propagating towards Florida. And we're going to see those continue all week because Humberto is generating very, very large waves right now. We also have gliders in the ocean. These are being operated and the data is being fed into Rutgers University. This is being sampled here so we can find out what the salinity is, what the ocean temperature is like at depth. It's really important to find that out, particularly when we have tropical cyclones that are approaching this area. It can really help us determine another factor that's weaken a tropical cyclone or make it stronger. So you can see all those around and even up down towards Puerto Rico, in the Caribbean, and also in the Atlantic. Okay, and as far as ocean measurements, I turned on the NDBC, that's the National Data Buoy Center. They have operational responsibility to maintain these buoys out here in the ocean. And look at this. We have a Category 4 hurricane, and we have a buoy right here, 41049. Looks like we have the air temperature, the winds gusting to 27 knots out here. That's outside of the tropical storm radius of maximum winds. And the National Hurricane Center actually uses these buoys to determine the radius of maximum winds. This one is measuring plots of sea level, plots of water level here, and here's a buoy over here. Let's see what this one looks like. Winds gusting to 17.5 knots, atmospheric pressure 29.85, and the water temperature 85.3. This is very, very warm ocean temperature here. And let's check out the marine traffic. Let's see what's going on out in the ocean. And boy, you can really see there is Tropical Storm Imelda. There's still some ships in that area. It was just named, so I'm sure they're trying to get out or get into a safe port in parts of the Bahamas. But look at around what's going on around Humberto. No ships where the big winds are being seen, and that is great news. We don't want any trouble out there in the marine traffic. And I just want to make a point. I've heard in the past that some people call these fish storms because they're not impacting anything but fish. Well, that is far from the truth, because you can see all the global trade that's going on and the economies that are being powered by all the goods and services that are being transported by these cargo ships, cruise ships that are out there giving people a lot of enjoyment. It's not enjoyable when you have to deal with a tropical system that's throwing waves out at a very far distance. So you can see from the marine traffic, it's looking really, really nice because they're avoiding Hurricane Humberto. So I mentioned Puerto Rico and the advisories that are going on down there. Let's take a closer look real quick and show you what's going on. In Puerto Rico, not only is it very hot right now, they have a number of advisories in effect. There are rip current statements because of Humberto well to the north. There's an extreme heat warning going on right now across much of the island, and high surf advisories because of those waves coming in. So we have rip current statements, extreme heat warning, small craft advisories that are offshore. Not recommended that small craft go away from the shoreline because of the high waves, and that's why they have a high surf advisory in effect as well. So now we're going to take a look at the forecast. I'm going to show you two models. This first one is the European model, and I'm going to show you the GFS after this. And then I want to show you the rainfall accumulations that could be expected because of the movement of this system. So in the European model, take a look. You'll see Tropical Storm Imelda coming out of the Bahamas here, coming about even with Miami Beach right about here, and that's Monday morning, tomorrow morning around 8 o'clock in the morning. See a lot of heavy rain too ahead of this system. You don't want to be under that, but look at all the moisture that's being picked up by a trough of low pressure along the coast. This could create very heavy downpours and some localized flooding in South Carolina, particularly near the coastline, and also around Wilmington, North Carolina, up towards Raleigh as well, because you see that rainfall just being hoisted to the north ahead of this system. And then as we put this on into motion, look, there's Humberto on the right-hand side. You can see it coming into the picture. And then that pressure kind of gives Imelda a path. Storms like to take the path of least resistance, don't we all? And here goes Imelda to the east. Look at that, pulling out. But in the meantime, we still have residual rain, and some of it could be heavy at times along the coastline. But look at this. We're talking by Tuesday night, Imelda is pulling out, being slungshot around towards Bermuda by the intense Hurricane Humberto. It's called a Fujiwara effect. Fujiwara. You look it up. It's kind of pretty cool to see. Lots of scientific papers about it. So this is the European model. Now I want to go over to the GFS model. That's the American operational model that the National Weather Service uses very frequently. And you can see this is 2 o'clock this afternoon, so just about 3 hours ago. And then we have the Hurricane Imelda coming out of the northern Bahamas. Lots of rain still pushing to the north in the Carolinas. And then look at this. Imelda's a hurricane here, so we're going to see coastal impacts, big waves, beach erosion, and a lot of rain, particularly towards the South Carolina, probably from Charleston up to Myrtle Beach, and then into the Wilmington, North Carolina area. And then look, Imelda pulls out, pulls a lot of the heavy rain with it, but we could still have flooding along the coastline here. And we have an intensifying Hurricane Imelda, which is going to make the beaches very unsafe to be in. So you can go to the beach, enjoy the power of the water, just don't get into the water. So this is the GFS model. This is how much precipitation could fall during this period of time that I just showed you. And look, we have a precipitation maximum here just southeast of Raleigh into the coastal Carolina area. So the southern part of the Outer Banks here, going down towards Wilmington, Oak Island, those places. You could see anywhere between, let's see, that looks like 4 and perhaps 6 inches of rain in this area. That extends down to Myrtle Beach, almost down to Charleston, South Carolina as well. I know that amount of rain is not good. A lot of places flood with just an inch of rain. And so we'll have to keep an eye on these coastal areas for sure. All the big rainfall totals out here, which are 12 to 18 inches of rain along the path of Tropical Storm and then Hurricane Imelda. Okay, so my confidence is higher that Imelda will be pulled out to sea, but there will still be impacts along the coastline, as we just talked about, from Florida to the Outer Banks and further northward around midweek up towards the north. Large swells are starting to reach the shoreline from Humberto. This includes Puerto Rico, right? You saw those advisories that I put up there that are in effect right now. So let's talk about current watches and warnings. A tropical storm watch is in effect for coastal Indian River, coastal Martin, coastal St. Lucie counties, coastal Volusia, and mainland northern Brevard. Also, mainland southern Brevard, northern Brevard Barrier Islands, and the southern Brevard Barrier Islands. So wind fields will gradually expand as Imelda strengthens. As a result, some of these tropical storm force wind gusts are possible for portions of the east central Florida coastline in outer rain bands tonight through Monday. At the coast, battering surf from this afternoon through Tuesday will produce dangerous beach conditions. A high risk of rip currents is forecast with breaking waves of 6 to 10 feet. Beach erosion is likely as waves run up to the dune line or seawalls, especially along northern Brevard and Volusia coast on Monday. Long period swells combined with distant major Hurricane Humberto will produce the potential for long duration moderate beach and dune erosion. So we're talking many days here, along with high surf conditions through late week. So dangerous beach and boating conditions are forecast to develop today and continue through early this week as the system moves parallel to portions of Florida, the Atlantic coast, Monday and Tuesday. Residents and visitors should continue to closely monitor this system, pay attention to your local broadcast meteorologist, to the National Weather Service, and also to the National Hurricane Center as they come out with their updates. We'll be out with another update during the day tomorrow for sure. Okay, so here's some parting words here. We have Tropical Storm Imelda. It will bring these conditions to the central and northwestern Bahamas through Monday. Tropical storm conditions are also possible along portions of the east coast of central Florida beginning Monday. Rainfall associated with the system will continue to impact eastern Cuba and the Bahamas through Tuesday, which will likely produce flash flood and urban flooding. Mudslides are possible in higher terrain. Heavy rainfall across coastal Carolinas could also cause some flash and urban and river flooding into Wednesday morning. So the risk of significant wind impacts along the southeastern United States is decreasing, but interest in that area should continue to monitor the latest forecast updates. Swells and high surf. We're going to see those from both Humberto and Imelda. They're expected to produce dangerous marine currents and rip currents along the east coast of Florida and the Georgia coast through Monday. These conditions are expected to spread northward along much of the east coast early this week. So if you're up in Delaware, New Jersey, New York, Long Island, up towards Connecticut, you will get these waves later this week. So I'll end here with amazing Hurricane Humberto, Category 4 hurricane, 150 mile per hour winds. This update's been for the All Hazards Consortium and you. We'll be keeping updates going throughout the week until these storms are off the map and they do not threaten the United States at all. For the All Hazards Consortium and stakeholders, the State of Virginia Emergency Operations Center has returned to code green. North Carolina is monitoring the status of Imelda closely. We'll keep some personnel in their EOC until the threat has gone away completely. Keep in mind that just 1 year ago, Hurricane Helene devastated many areas in western North Carolina, so the state is taking no chances. South Carolina will keep some staffing levels in their EOC until the right-hand turn takes place, till Imelda heads out to sea. So thanks for watching, and we'll have another update tomorrow if conditions warrant. If conditions do warrant, we'll have them sooner. Please take care of yourself and take care of your neighbors. They really do appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.